This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles Show. This is episode 508. My name is Daniel Smrokowski, and I'm the founder of Special Chronicles and a Special Olympics Sergeant Shriver International Global Messenger. Before we begin today's episode, a few housekeeping reminders. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs, and sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. This week on the Special Chronicles podcast, we're on the road to Special Olympics World Games, Berlin 2023. And today we are welcoming fellow SSIGM all the way from Special Olympics Pakistan, Haseeb Abbasi. So please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Haseeb to the Special Chronicles show. Welcome, Haseeb.
Thank you.
So we've had a few of our fellow SSIGMs on this program, but we're kicking off 2023. And for our listeners, this year is the final year of our SSIGM tome. And so I'm sure some of our listeners may know you, but I'm sure there's a lot of new listeners that might not know. So why don't you first introduce yourself, how we first met, and what disability you were diagnosed with.
Hi, Daniel, the broadcast man. First of all, I'm so excited to be here on your show. Thank you so much for having me, my friend. So I remember when we were selected as SSIGM, I read your profile and I was automatically a fan of your work. The entire SSIGM batch is just filled with amazing people, and I was very excited to be part of the team. I remember when we had our SSIGM training in US, my visa got refused. Unfortunately, I was very sad that day. It's because I really wanted to meet everyone and share my thoughts and learn from you. But then finally, I got to meet you in Abu Dhabi at the Special Olympics World Games 2019. Abu Dhabi was great. It was so much fun. Yes. So that's where I actually met you for the first time. And you were so nice to everyone, and your mentor, Chris, too. He's a very friendly guy, and I loved hanging out with you all. Do you remember the desert safari? What an incredible adventure! I love riding the camels, and sandboarding was so much fun. It was just an incredible day. So yes, Abu Dhabi, that's where we met for the first time.
Yeah, awesome. And then you want to share a little bit about what disability you were diagnosed with and your backstory before being involved in Olympics. So your
So when I was born, I was healthy and my early development was normal. But then, as I started to grow older, my parents had a difficult time coping with my eccentric behaviors. I wouldn't talk or communicate at all. I had trouble maintaining eye contact. I was shy and didn't want to interact with people. I would usually just hide myself so that I didn't have to speak to anyone. I spoke my first words at the age of 8 years. And it wasn't until I was 12 years old when I was clinically diagnosed. I am on the autism spectrum, and so
So
is my
is my
younger little brother Hashem. And we had to travel
and we
to
had
UK to get my diagnosis. Hashim is a lot more served than me.
to
Pakistan
get my
now has
more served that
facilities and experts who can do the diagnosis, but back then there was no such facility available. Even today, it's very expensive, and most people can't afford it. Even for my brother, there is no opportunity or institute or facility that I can help him. It's automatically my parents and my responsibility, and we're trying to do our best. We go for cycling together. He's still trying to learn to use the brakes. So these are some problems in the developing worlds with regards to people with intellectual disability, but it is slowly getting better.
awesome.
Early year, mm, I was in a mainstream school because before my diagnosis. It was difficult in that school. Most kids didn't want to do anything with me. My teachers were supportive, however. They tried to include me in the activities, but it was still hard for me. I tried to stay hidden. I would say words and sentences that didn't make much sense to my classmates, but they were words stored in my memory. I used to watch Scooby-Doo and Powerpuff Girls, and I would just repeat the words and actions. Some of my classmates thought it was
Thought
strange
it
and
was
labeled me and,
lovely.
and retarded. Like I said, it was a difficult time.
Good. Well, we're gonna hear the thanks for sharing your early years. We're gonna take a short sponsor break, and when we come back, we will hear about your story in Special Olympics, and as we continue to share with our listeners your story about after your early years. So Augusta Haseeb Abbasi calling in all the way from Pakistan, right here on the Special Chronicles show, and we will be right back after this short break on specialchronicles.com. We'll be right back. As an independent public media podcast, Special Chronicles will always be there for you. Now we're asking you to be there for us. As a nonprofit independent media organization, we can only make programs like Special Chronicles with listener support. Our programs provide weekly, candid, honest, and inspiring conversations about the people with disabilities community that creates awareness, support, and advocacy within each week's episode. Listeners tell us our shows are an enjoyable and necessary podcast for the intellectual and developmental disability community and everyone else who is able to listen to stories about life from a different angle. Please, if you and your family love our weekly podcast, make a one-time, monthly, or annual gift of thanks today. Support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/give. That's specialchronicles.com/give. And we're back. I think, oh wait, hold on. Let's see if we can unclick that graphic. We're back. Our guest, did it? There we go. It clicked again. Okay. Our guest is Haseeb, fellow SSIGM, calling in from Pakistan. And Haseeb, now this next segment is now kind of going after your early years. And as we all know, because of our involvement in Special Olympics, on the playing field, we're able to overcome our challenges that we were diagnosed with. So let's begin and have you share with us how you were first introduced to Special Olympics Pakistan.
So after my diagnosis, I came to Pakistan and my parents enrolled me in a special school. This is where my journey with Special Olympics started. This is where I was introduced to the world of Special Olympics, which opened a whole new world of opportunities for me. For the first time, I felt accepted. All the athletes applauded my entry on the track. The sports manager gave me a microphone to introduce myself. I shared my name and told them that I wanted to play with them. This was my first time ever using a microphone. I felt empowered for the first time in my life. I felt people were listening to me and that I too had a voice. Words were stored in my mind, but no one encouraged me. Everyone talked about me, but not to me. The hardest thing for me was to speak up, and I'm blessed that Special Olympics has broken the most difficult barrier of my life by giving me a voice. Participating in sports gave me courage and confidence. I joined the athlete leadership program, which helped me to gain knowledge about Special Olympics and train my leadership skills. Our leadership team helped me to gain my self-esteem and confidence to speak. Since being part of Special Olympics Pakistan, I have achieved so much. I've won many medals in cycling, and it is my favorite sport. I've cycled all over the country, from the sandy beaches of Karachi to the huge rocky mountains of the Punjab with different cycling clubs.
Neat. It looks like we can.
Daniel?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. Thank you. And one country, from the sandy beaches of Karachi to the huge rocky mountains of the Punjab with different cycling clubs. I have represented my country and won 2 gold medals in Bauchi at the Special Olympics Asia Pacific Regional Games held in Australia. Beyond sports, I found my voice and have become a spokesperson to advocate for the rights of people with intellectual disabilities in Pakistan and around the world. I am the host of a show called Taraay Zameen Par on a web channel, Channel 6. In 2016, I delivered my first TED Talk in Lahore to an audience of 15,000 people. In 2017, I went to Austria at the Special Olympics Global Youth Summit, where I shared my idea to write and publish a storybook. My idea was highly applauded, and on return, I started working on my book. The Stories of Special Souls is a really cool book, and I have traveled around Pakistan to share the stories of people with intellectual disabilities.
Support for Special Chronicles comes from ComEd. Special Chronicles is proud to partner with the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program. The Energy Force is the country's first energy efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. ComEd is powering lives, and really is powering us here at Special Chronicles to keep the lights on and our technology is powered on. As ComEd powers the lives of us, they are literally giving a voice to people with with special needs. We thank ComEd for the generous support of our mission at Special Chronicles. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. So you finished sharing with us your Special Olympics story, and do you want to tell us about the sports that you compete in and what your favorite sport is?
Thank you. My biggest inspiration is my father, who lost his voice because of cancer. Not only has he fought his disease, but he has successfully overcame his disability too, learning to talk with the help of a device. Now is actively living his life to the fullest. I remember my father was first diagnosed with colon cancer in
2013, just before I was leaving to Australia from the regional games. He was very sad. Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You want to tell us a little bit more about your father?
But my biggest inspirational is my father, who lost his voice because of cancer. Not only has he fought his disease, but he has successfully overcame his disability to learn to talk with the help of a device, and now is actively living his life to the fullest. fullest. I remember my father was first diagnosed with colon cancer in 2013, just before I was leaving to Australia for the regional games. He was very sad. I told him that I would go there and do my best for him. And I did won 2 gold medals in Pauchi. My father was so proud of me, and I was so happy that I brought him some joy in times of such sadness.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the story with your father. We're going to, since we already took our sponsor breaks during our technical difficulties, we're going to move on and talk about beyond the world of sports. And you shared a little bit of this in your Special Olympic story, but at the age of 17, you made it to the TEDx stage and received an ovation. Can you tell us about your speech on the TEDx stage?
In 2017, I went to Austria Graz for the youth summit that took place during the Winter Games, and I presented my idea of making a book that told the stories of people with intellectual disability. I thought it would make a very good contribution in the country where we need to make sure that our youth adopt inclusive habits. So it's basically a children book, and the book is called Stories of Special Souls. Special Souls. It's a book about 3 Special Olympic athletes and one unified partner. The book explains that difficulties people with intellectual disability face, and then how Special Olympics has helped improve their lives. Unfortunately, the book was only in hard copies, and we gave them out to school kids for free. We would visit school regularly and talk to their younger students and explain the importance of inclusion. We'll give them books as gifts, and they love them.
Neat. So you want to share a little bit more about the book? So you published a book about that chronicles the stories of people with intellectual disabilities, as well as you visited schools across Pakistan. to share and then after that you shared with us that you host a web channel show. Can you tell us a little bit about this
Daniel,
web channel show?
Daniel, sorry about the wrong answers. It was
No.
amazing opportunity. I had been doing a lot of public speaking before that as well, but this was the big stage for me. I was only 16 years old back then. I had never faced such huge crowd of over 1,500 people, but I did it well. My talk got featured on the TEDx YouTube channel. It was an amazing feeling, really. I just spoke my heart. I told them my story, but everyone loved it so much. I got a lot of happy messages and notes after the event.
Awesome. So for those of you listening, you can, I'm sure you can find Haseeb's TEDx speech on somewhere online. You can probably do a search, and then Haseeb, you published a book which chronicles stories of people with intellectual disabilities, like both of us and our fellow SSIGMs, and you visited schools across Pakistan to share the stories in your book. Can you tell us a little bit more about the book that you wrote?
In 2017, I went to Austria Graz for the youth summit that took place during the Winter Games, and I presented my idea of making a book that told the stories of people with intellectual disabilities. I thought it would make a very good contribution in the country where we need to make sure that our youth adopt inclusive habits. So it's basically a children book, and the book is called Stories of Special Souls. It's a book about three Special Olympic athletes and I and one unified partner. The book explains the difficulties people with intellectual disability face and then how Special Olympics has helped improve their lives. Unfortunately, the book was only in hard copies and we gave them out to school kids for free. We would visit schools regularly and talk to their younger students and explain the importance of inclusion. We'll give them book as the gifts and they love them.
Awesome. And then you host a web channel show. Can you tell us about the name of this show, and you advocate for people with intellectual disabilities on how to create a more inclusive community. So can you tell us what you wanted to host?
I was just looking for more opportunities to showcase my public speaking skills, and one one the producer at Channel 6 happened to be my mom's friend. She offered me the opportunity to speak at one of the shows, and then they just started an entire show where I was the host. My show has helped people realize that people with intellectual disability too achieve their dreams. We too can have a voice and send our message and speak up for ourselves. Just like this broadcast, maybe it's an opportunity for people from all walks of life to come and discuss their channels and struggles and how to overcome it. This is how people can relate to us, to our bullies. So I believe that it is a powerful tool for people with intellectual disability, for everyone actually to voice their opinions and to be heard. You can search on YouTube with Channel 6 and they have a playlist with Taraay Zameen Par.
Awesome. Well, just like what you've done with hosting your web channel show, that's what I try to do here on this program, on this podcast, on Special Chronicles, to share our stories so more people from all walks of life can hear about all stories and hear about our challenges and our accomplishments as well. You were denied uh, opportunities to work, but this didn't stop you from owning your own money to become more independent. So you're the CEO of your own juice shop called Squeezy, the juice bar, where you wish to create opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities so that they too they have a way to own their own living. So can you tell us a little bit about your juice shop and why you wanted to start this juice shop and how it's been a platform to open mindsets of the community?
So I always wanted to earn my own living. I dreamed of going to work and being productive, but I was denied many opportunities to work. Ever since my father's cancer diagnosis, he had to resign from work and things were very difficult for our family. So I really wanted to contribute something. I knew I could do some job if I was provided with the opportunities. So I applied to a lot of places and used a lot of references, but it was to no avail. One time I was in Singapore for the regional leadership conference, and that's where I saw kilos. They're selling coffee, snacks, and I started to take pictures of it. I really liked the idea of a small shop that was mandated by a few people and they could just sell small things like coffee and snacks. I went back home and showed the pictures to my mom and told her that I wanted to open a shop just like this. But since coffee isn't very popular in Pakistan, we decided to open a small juice shop instead. Initially, we started with just sugarcane juice, but soon we started offering more fruit juices. After a year, we started selling tea and coffees and expanded the shop a little. Now we're selling fries and popcorn as well. So it's a growing slowly but surely, and I dream of seeing Squeezy become a hub of people with intellectual disability where they know the doors for employment and fun will always be open for them. But it's gonna take some time for it to get there. But I'm sure if I continue to get the right support, I surely make it happen.
Awesome. And now as we come into the final segment of this episode, can you share with us what your dream is? You shared a little bit on specialolympics.org in your bio about what your dream is, but can you share a little bit about what your dream is for an inclusive society and
Yes, I mean, I don't know what people with intellectual disability have to do to prove it. We're just as human, we have flesh and bones, dreams and aspirations. We feel emotions too. Why would anyone not wanted to include us? How would you feel if you were kept away from family dinners or sports field or work or didn't have access to, I mean, even if you have no experience about people with intellectual disability, just come up to us and say hi. Show us a smile, shake our hands, see if we bite. Ha 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 ha. We don't, we love to be included. We love for you to do all these things. We love to have fun and enjoy. It's sad because for some reason people think that if a person with intellectual disability has been born in a house, then it is only the responsibility for that one family to deal with him only. But it's not. It's everyone's responsibility to be nice and more thoughtful. Adopting inclusive habits is important for everyone. When you play, play inclusively, When you study, study inclusively. When you work, work inclusively. Only then can society truly progress. Only then all people be appreciated for what they're good at. And that is the world that I aspire to live in.
Uh, awesome, awesome. And just by the time our listeners hear this, in about 5-6 months from now, in June 2023, we will be together again with our fellow SSIGMs at the Special Olympics World Games 2013 in Berlin, Germany. And so can you share with us a little bit, and for our listeners listening, we'll put links in the where you can get more information about the World Games. And I'm trying to put up on the screen information.
I think the World Games.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us what you're looking forward to, Haseeb, at the World Games?
Yes. Yes. I think the World Games in Abu Dhabi may have set a very high bar for the following games, but I'm expecting nothing less. I want to see a world where all people with intellectual disability are included, and the World Games are true representation for that. I'm just looking forward to see everyone have fun and coming together, not as countries, not as races or castes or creeds or anything that separate us, but as people of inclusion, as human, as people who are appreciated for their abilities. I'm also looking forward to the Youth Summit. I hope I can get an opportunity to speak to them again. I love working with the youth. I believe they are the true change makers. An inclusive mindset of the youth is an inclusive mindset of tomorrow. Don't you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, the youth will set the future for tomorrow. Absolutely. And for those of you listening, I know a lot of you listening might want to join Haseeb and me and our fellow SSIGMs in Berlin the 17th to the 25th of June. And you can go to berlin2023.org to find out more about the upcoming World Games. And if you want to connect with your local Special Olympics program. I'm trying to put it up on the screen. There we go. You can visit specialolympics.org to connect with Special Olympics Pakistan, or my program Illinois, or in the US, or any other program across the globe. And see if people want to connect with you, you've got a website that people can visit. Do you want to tell our listeners what that is?
Thank you, Daniel, for hosting me. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I hope and pray that this platform of yours gets every bit of succeed that it deserves, and the hard work that you put in this is rewarded every single bit. Thank you so much once again. Stay awesome, choose to include, and lead to include.
Awesome. And before we conclude this episode, we always conclude with a final question, and we're going to go ahead and play a bumper to introduce that final question.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
Who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity, and the recognition of our
Shared humanity.
We will not stop.
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
More divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution.
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
And ever since the 29th one final question. So we'll do the same with you, Haseeb. And because as you know, inclusion and inclusion revolution is a big part of this movement.
Inclusion means to include everyone, regardless of their abilities or disabilities, have the right to be appreciated as valuable members for their communities.
Awesome. I think you cut off there a little bit of that final question, but do you want to share with us again, what does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion means to include everyone, and inclusion means regardless of their abilities or disabilities, have the right to be appreciated as valuable members for their communities.
Absolutely. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. Thank you again, Haseeb, for taking the time throughout some technical difficulties that we had. Thank you again for on a program on the. And folks, we'll be back next week right here on the Special Chronicles show on specialchronicles.com. So remember to stay subscribed, and we will see you next week. There we go. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. SpecialChronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes for absolutely for free. Also, have our favorites original series, award-winning blogs, and sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, SpecialChronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.